Good morning and welcome to the 9th meeting of the Net Zero Energy and Transport Committee for 2025. Our first item of business today is consideration of 3 negative SIs being laid under the negative procedure. Means that these will come into force unless the Parliament agrees to a motion to annul them. I can confirm that no motions to annul have been lodged. The Delegated Powers and Law Reform Committee has made no comment on any of the instruments, but I'll seek views on each of them in turn. The first is the Scottish Roadworks Register Prescribed Fees Regulations 2025. Do members have any comments on this instrument? Douglas.
Yes, Convener, when I was reading the instrument, the only thing that occurred to me was that, this seems to have been in place since 2008 and the process remains unchanged. Just to know from the government whether this ever goes to tender. And I noticed the fees last year was just over £1 million. And really, just do we have any idea of what the fees have been over the last, say, 5–10 years?
I don't. And I don't know that it's ever been changed. I remember seeing this instrument when I was in the REC committee in the period 2016 to whenever it came in. It must have been in the latter part of it, 2020-21. So I don't know. We could certainly ask for the government for more information on this at a stage when we think. But are you against, in principle, the statutory instrument?
No, Convener. It would have been just good to have more information and more background of what was coming today.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any comment on it? Okay, so on that, we'll write a letter to the government specifically on the points that you've raised, Mr Lumsden. So can I invite the committee to agree it doesn't wish to make any recommendation in relation to the instrument? We are agreed. The second instrument is the Environment Protection Injurious Articles, Fixed Penalty Notices and Miscellaneous Amendments Scotland Regulation 2025. Does any member wish to comment on these instruments? Yes, Mark.
Thanks, Convener. So I understand why this delay has been brought in to enable a Four Nations agreement to take place. So I think, it's understandable. I do, however, have a concern that I'm hearing that potentially some forms of single-use vapes, known as large tank vapes, might not actually be included within this regulation that's going to be enforced across the UK. So, it would be useful to get the Scottish Government's view on that as to whether, given that there's been a delay, whether the regulations are all-inclusive and whether there are any unintended loopholes that are starting to appear, or if there aren't, then it would be good for the government to address that concern that's certainly out there.
Okay, does any other member have any comments on that? I have to say, if no one has, Monica, sorry, I see your hand up. I apologise, Monica.
Ruskell's point, it's important that we get this right, and I think there's been a huge amount of public interest, so it was more on the enforcement side. I just wondered if it would be good to hear more from the Scottish Government about how they expect that to work in practice, given the responsibilities of the enforcement officers will be, I suppose, very public facing, and I think there'll be a lot of public interest in getting this right. So whether that's in writing or in front of the committee, I'm a bit more relaxed, but I think we do need to hear more from the government about how the fixed penalty notices will work in practice and just around the enforcement of that.
Thank you, Monica. Does anyone else have any comment on that? I have to say, Mark, I've heard the same issues raised that you're raising, that as the regulations come closer to coming into force, that there seems to be workarounds being made by the manufacturers of vapes, because if I remember the regulations correctly, it was a vape that had to be had to be able to replace the tanks on it, and therefore it had to be reusable, and there seems to be ways. So we could easily write to the government to ask them whether they feel that the regulations that were brought in now are not being circumvented, and not seek some reassurance from that. We could also seek from the government some reassurance that the enforcement procedures will correctly be in place when this regulation comes into force. We could do that by a letter. I would suggest is the best way of doing that. On that basis, can I confirm that the committee doesn't wish to make any further recommendations on that? Yes. Thank you. Thirdly, we have the Greenhouse Gas Emissions Trading Scheme Amendment number 2, Order 2025. Does any members have any comments on this instrument? No, we don't. So that would mean that we are probably, well, I hope we are agreed that we don't wish to make any recommendations to this instrument. Are we all agreed into that? We are agreed. Thank you. We're now going to move into private session. Thank you.